Alrighty, guys. Welcome to the Thursday call here today. On this call, we discuss through some new features and just things that we're excited about in general on my side. And then we pass it over to Julie from the DeliverLogic team to discuss through any GFO or point of sale related topics that she may have. This week, it really does seem like we just had this call yesterday. A week is no longer enough time in my life. That being said, when it comes to the features in the software, I'm sorry, I almost skipped over the standard intro here. So yeah, again, thanks for coming to the call. This is just one of 5 calls that we have here every week. So on Monday, you've got a call with Dave that goes down for general questions. On Tuesday, marketing with Devin. Wednesday, that's financial and general QA with Joe, the CEO over there. And then Thursday, of course, here. On Saturdays, we opened up another Dave session as well in case anyone has general questions for Dave over the weekend. So there's a bunch of different times you can jump on with us. And again, it doesn't matter if you are there on time, if you're there 3 minutes after it starts, 59 minutes after it starts, doesn't matter. Jump on, see if the call is still going on. Ask a question. We're here for you guys. Appreciate you coming to this call and to all of the calls. Or any of the calls is what I should have said. When it comes to new features and issues with the software that you may have, when you're in the back end of the system on the right-hand side, there's a blue box that says Center. When you click on that, you're able to see the new features that have come out or that are coming out. You're also able to submit your support tickets and interact with the Confluence knowledge base from all of that area as well. Many of these features that we're going to discuss through today, you will see there or can already see there. So looking at kind of this list, and we actually have a meeting with the Deliver Club folks here shortly, and much of this list I'm actually reading directly off of that monthly kind of summary that I'll give for them later in the day. The live/testing softwares and features are going to be, the DeliverLogic is going to get fully released this week. So it's been what they call slow rolling to folks. So you can say, I think it's on iOS, for example, you can say roll auto update people that already have this app 10% every day until Friday, and then until everybody's fully updated to the new version. So that's like a slow release that's going down with DeliverLogic. More on this little GFO listings report and restaurant controls. More of that in Julie's section later on. A note really that it used to be that when you went to the restaurant invoice, that at the top you were able to select like a bunch of different options up there. Don't include sales tax, don't include this, don't include that, etc. We moved all those into the restaurant profile so that you can control them all there. We actually hadn't done this with who remits sales tax a while ago. So that because you had some clients that had 100 restaurants that the RDS would pass the sales tax to the restaurant, and there'd be like 3 that they didn't. And you would have to do a bunch of manual manipulations in order to get your finances and reporting proper. Anyway, now you can toggle the different settings on and off on the restaurant profile financials tab, and then when you run the invoice report based off of that individual restaurant settings, certain numbers will display. Nothing really should have changed for any of you guys as far as what's showing up out there value-wise. It should match what you had, but now you can toggle it on a per restaurant profile instead of having to run that invoice report more than once. Passing it over to Jacques. I thought I saw Jacques. Did you raise your hand, or somebody had their hand raised? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did. It was exactly that question. If anything has to be done on our end, and if anything changed, but you answered it. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Dusty.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I quite heard you right, but so the tax thing. The issue that I have is I have my client. She's in 3 states, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa. They all have three different tax situations. So is that the tax thing that's fixed now in the software, that it's per resto level?
Depends on what I think we have a solution already for what you're referring to. If you want to try to hit me after the call or something, we can go over that, Dusty. But I mean, there on the restaurant profile, there's a tax field where you're going to be taxing the food sale at the rate of the restaurant tax rate. So you plug the restaurant tax rate on the restaurant profile. I'm not sure what your situation is. One single restaurant, physical restaurant that delivers into 3 states. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I have a restaurant in Nebraska that would deliver into South Dakota and Iowa as well.
And so the taxation on that, yeah. I actually have in my next section of notes, I have something for you then.
Okay, perfect.
But right now, let's see, that was coming out of the restaurant invoice stuff. So Dusty, what I was getting at was when you used to go to the restaurant invoice report, and still when you go there now, there's some options at the top of it, little check boxes. Instead of having it doesn't really make sense to have them there. What we did is we moved many of them into the restaurant profile so that you can set that restaurant the way you need that restaurant to be. Then you just run the report and everything shows up the way you need it. Because we were finding that people were still needing to like run the report for half of their restaurants with some toggles selected one way, and then run it again with the toggle selected another way for the other half. And this should eliminate the need for people to have to do that. Should just be able to run that thing once and get all the right numbers, regardless.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Perfect.
Now for you, I've got something I'll just go ahead and skip to. I'll have to remember to come back. But we've got this thing coming down the pipeline that's delivery zip code based order taxation. So you'll be able to tax the subtotal food sale at the rate of the taxation of the zip code the consumer lives in. Meaning that if I'm delivering from Matt's restaurant, which is in whatever zip code A, and I'm delivering to zip code B, that food's going to be taxed at zip code B's tax rate. So really the way that's going to look, it's going to be fully optional, and you're going to be able to, when you go into, let's see, how does it work? When you go into a zoning area, locations, zones, zip code, you plug a zip code into the zone, you're going to be able to associate a tax rate with the zip code when you plug that in. Then on a per restaurant basis, there'll be like a checkbox of some sort that is going to say tax using zip code based tax rates for this restaurant. So other restaurants can still ride the normal system as it works today, but particular restaurants, you can opt in to use this function.
And when does that function come live?
Yeah, so this is on my on deck list. I've got a guy who has a clear runway next week to work on this with me. I don't think it's complicated. I think I've storied this one out, so I got a great understanding of how it should be executed. I'm going to work with one of our longtime devs, Sadindra, to get this done. You should see this fully live globally by the end of the month.
Nice work. Thanks.
Yeah, glad it comes in handy for you.
For sure. That's a great
feature
timetable
was that?
too. Yeah.
What you got, Jeff?
What was that feature that yours going to be released by the end of the month?
This is going to be delivery zip code based order taxation.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So yeah, taxing the subtotal food sale at the rate of the delivery address. Really, right now, guys, let me know if you need this because I'm going to throw it out there. There's nothing in that ticket about altering the tax rate that the delivery fee or additional charges are taxed at, nor the marked up tax rate. Um, all of that should still be taxed at the locational tax rate. I believe that's true and proper.
So I
Correct
guess,
me.
can I ask a question about that? So, if we turn on, and this is the way that I guess maybe in New York it's different than everybody else, but since New York is a money hungry state, um, if we put in the restaurant, whatever it is, whatever it is, and we put the sales tax in that one. And are you talking about if you're bordering another, I guess how would you see that work? I guess.
So the way that the taxation feature is going to work is going to be that when you set up your zip codes, so in locations, zoning, zip codes, you create a location, you create a zone, you put zip codes in that zone. When you create a zip code, you're going to be able to associate a tax rate with this zip code on a per restaurant basis. There'll be a checkbox that says on this restaurant, no longer use the restaurant tax rate. Instead, use the consumer's delivery zip code tax rate instead.
So we're going to be charging the customer based on if they live in an address that is 8.25%, but the restaurant lives area where they're at 8%. So the customer is going to be charged the 8.25%.
That's correct on taxation of subtotal food sale.
Interesting. Yeah. So we wouldn't be. I don't think that would work in New York because we do it by the location.
By
Because we
the
have
restaurant's location, right?
Yeah, restaurant.
Yeah,
location.
you're good. So the thing I'm describing is fully optional. To set, you'd have to set it up and use it.
Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. All right, thank you.
No problem. Yeah. No, we're not. Yeah. We're not like scratching the way it works now or anything. This is a additional feature that can be toggled on a per delivery zip code per restaurant basis. Really granular. That's on my on deck.
I guess it
list.
would
I'm
work
back
out
to, like,
perfect if you live in a tri-state area.
that and also I don't know, like Alabama is being weird with tax here lately. I don't know if anyone's dealing with that. There's all sorts of weird tax stuff going on. Post-COVID increased gig economy, all this stuff. Tax world. I hate taxes. Tax man just caught up with me the other day for some 1% local city tax that I was unaware of. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that situation in like in Nebraska. They want to take the food subtotal, and then they want you to add a 1.5% tax to that, and then based off of that, that's when you generate your service fee, and then that total
That's crazy.
is what you then do the tax on. All right, so that's in Nebraska, and I know I can't do that, and the software is not going to allow me to make it. And then in South Dakota, the one zip code that we're in, it is legit right down the center of it from north to south. On the right hand side is one tax rate, and on the left hand side is another tax rate, even though they're the same zip code. Because on the left hand side, it's some sort of the building community is not technically a part of the city, right? That's in the zip code. So, okay, well, I can't split the zip code into two different tax rates. So I'm like, all right, well, one side's just going to get taxed a little higher. That's what it is. State will get a little more money, So yeah, stupid.
They want it, and they're gonna get it.
Yep, exactly.
They're gonna get out how they want it.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Where am I at? All right, we're going. So that was a more conversation than expected about that line item, which is good. I like that. It's like my
We got a
favorite thing.
couple hands up here, Matt.
Let's grab these hands. Let's hit up Melissa.
Hi. So I just have a quick question about, you said there was a couple new things under the financial tab, and I noticed one that says pass takeout tip to the restaurant. Can you kind of explain exactly what that is and if whether it needs to be checked or not?
Sure. Yeah. So pass takeout tip to the restaurant is it's honestly kind of trickery. So you're allowed to have the consumers can tip when they're placing a takeout order from you. And if that checkbox is not checked, you are keeping the money for the tips and not passing it to the restaurants. If that box is checked, you are then passing it to the restaurants.
Okay, so then
Can
I
you
need
can
go
you
through all
clarify?
oh sorry, Richard, go ahead.
Sorry, Melissa. Can you clarify on that? Because the tips are passing to the restaurant. The way I'm reading that box is that it's going to show up on the tablet receipt invoice because we don't have it checked and our tips are still passing, which is what we want them to do and have been doing all along.
My understanding of that feature was that it would truly restrict or not restrict the passing of the monies. I could be wrong about that, or the feature could be working not as intended. Richard, what are the exact words say in there if you happen to have it pulled up?
Let me pull it up right now.
I have it right here. It says, when checked, this will pass takeout tips to the restaurant in the invoice report and also to POS.
Yeah, so the for example, partner pay pays restaurants based off of what's displaying on the invoice. So if it's not displaying on the invoice, then partner pay won't be paying that out to them. And as Richard's saying though, if he does not have that checked and it is still showing up or going through to them, then I believe that feature has an issue.
Okay, so my question then, because I want to make sure all my restaurants are getting their tips. I don't want to keep their tips. They're not my tips to have. Shouldn't it be checked? And then if you don't want that, you should go in and uncheck it because a lot of people aren't going to know about that. And it's all unchecked now. So, restaurants are going to stop getting their tips. I mean, luckily Richard and I noticed it yesterday. And so that's why, I was asking about it. So I'm going to go through and check it. But
I'll have to double check with the guys because I can actually see it both ways depending on what the actual intent was of that feature. So on one hand, I could see if the intent of it is to either have it show or not show on the order send. So like when you send the order via fax or email or to DeliverLogic or to point of sale, I could see you not wanting to show it on that, but still send them the money at
Right.
the end.
Right, exactly. Because I still want to make sure they get the money.
So if that's the intent of it, I agree with defaulting it to not clicked.
Right.
Matt, I think that's correct, what you just said. I believe
Okay.
I've heard Joe talk about it like that before. Because depending on the employees that are at the restaurant, maybe the owner doesn't want them to see all the tips that are coming in because they could be in some sort of way.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay. I thought that they weren't going to get the tip. And I thought, well, a lot of people are going to, not know that. And then their restaurants aren't getting the tip. But that I see what you're saying there. Okay.
So this is a case of we need to write it in words that make sense.
Yeah, I guess fix that tooltip a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We make that mistake though regularly. I'll admit it, right? And we're acknowledging that increasingly internally. And as mentioned somewhere recently, I do plan on setting up a straight like big group of us, like 5 of us, to go through like everywhere sometime probably next week, later in the week. Take 2 hours, 5 of us go through, look at all the tooltips, rewrite stuff that doesn't make sense, rewrite stuff that needs more clarity, add stuff where there's not. There's a lot in the system, and I personally do believe that the basics, like setting up and just running, aren't the craziest thing to learn. But there's just so much more in there that needs to be more clearly walked through and led through once you're in the back end. So I do acknowledge that this is one of those situations. All right, we have Richard. You do have your hand up still. What do we got going on?
Yeah, did you you see my ticket that I put in last night?
Not yet.
It's
Actually.
kind of a big one. Basically what's happening is the dispatch system is treating takeouts as deliveries. So say you only have like 3 drivers on and you have 5 takeouts and a delivery, the system is now treating it as you have 6 deliveries and only 3 drivers, and it is starting to auto buffer.
I do have a ticket in relation to this. Let me double check to see its status real quick.
Yeah, I'm logging in right now.
I've got one that's already in progress from some other source. Let me check this out real quick.
Yeah, I got BSD 35599.
Third. All right. Yeah, it looks like Devin submitted BSD 35573 yesterday, and we have that listed as a high priority and on a developer listed as work in progress. So he's working. We got a guy working on a fix at this moment.
Does something like that affect everybody that's on DeliverLogic?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay, I figured. Okay.
Which is scary because Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are our busiest days.
Yeah, we'll get a fix out for sure, probably later today. If it's not later today, it'll be first thing in the morning as a heads up.
And then my other question was with the GFOs, our pictures and blurbs are all completely gone out of the GFOs. Now it's just some random writing with our website written in it.
Julie, you may have more on that.
Yeah, it's something we're doing temporarily. Since we've had some changes with GFO, Google's what's the word I'm looking for? Requests or just sort of simplifying things for a little while they give us time to make sure all of our clients are in compliance with partner restaurants. So as far as I know, we should be putting the logos back soon. I don't have an exact timeline. It was something that Joe and Anthony and Google discussed, but it is only temporary.
Okay, I take it back. My GFO's all gone off my restaurants now. So now it's completely gone.
Oh. I'll take a look at that for you.
Ready? Let's see.
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
you can continue, Alex.
Sounds good. Jeremiah, I saw
Hey,
your. There you are. Hey.
hey, this is back to the pass-through takeout tips.
Sure.
I know that something when it was changed, it's still defaulting to pass the tips through. We have a few different situations with it where we have a couple of places where it's kind of publicly known that the owners are kind of crappy people and just pocket the tips and don't even pay attention to it. They don't get passed through to anybody, and they raise their prices up so much that I would rather give those to my dispatchers because at least I know it's going to somebody working on the orders. It may be different for other people who don't have their own dispatch, but we had a situation where one business owner was very confused because it wasn't showing on his reports. He was getting it on the orders and it was paying him out, but because it wasn't showing on the report, he was saying we weren't paying him. But when we went back to look, we were. So, like, is there going to be just? It just seems a little convoluted right now. Like where does it? We need to have the option of like where is it shown if that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem robust enough that if you want to like not pass them through, it's still going to show up like when you send the orders and stuff.
To be honest with you, I'll have to kind of do some testing around that item, because I think most of the changes that were made to that were related to Joe kind of drove those changes. I got to loop my head back around all the different aspects of it and then try to bring some sense into it again. I agree with you that, yeah, it's nobody really knows what nobody on this call seems to know what exactly those things are supposed to do. So that's never good.
Exactly, because it's like, he sees it on the order, and this is like where the owner and his wife are the only like employees. So, they get the order, they see it, and they're doing their own accounting, and they're like, yeah, we should, get this. But then they were also on auto pay, pay through Stripe with a Monday payout. So they were having a lot of stuff roll over because they were on that Monday payout.
Right.
So, the first thing I did was move them to a Wednesday, and I was like, we're going to look at it next week and figure it out. But, yeah, it just needs more options, like when to show it on the order, when not to, is it in the report? Is it not? And where is it? It really, like, those three things: on the ticket, on the report, and whether or not it passed through.
Agreed. I've got some notes on this item to loop back through, so I'll include this in there.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Of course. Let's see. Guys, any other questions at this point in time? I've only got a couple other items here. Something I'm not super familiar with on my side, and it's kind of in the testing phase, is that I think Devin had built and been working on, which is the simple marketing SMS system. I mentioned it in the past weeks, so that's still kind of in progress here, and we will have a nice video and all that stuff coming out to discuss more about that. Also, of course, the 3PD, third-party driver stuff, scrolled out globally. That's fantastic. In my future stuff on deck items, it was the auto deployment system for consumer apps, which will make my life easier and bring everybody up to date on. It'll be much easier, much faster for us to get new apps up and to update everybody's apps really simultaneously instead of one at a time. When we do what we're calling like the unification of web and app, that will make things a lot better too, to where all of the features of the web will be on the app and all the features of the app will be on the web, such as group ordering on the app, things of that nature. Reward marketplace will be in the app. Everything will be fully unified, so that when we make a change on the web, that change automatically happens on the web at the app as well, and vice versa, which is not how it is today. Lots of separate management involved. We have this automated customer service bot that also Devin's been working on. This thing's really cool, man. It's pretty cool. Go to the website after you place an order, and it's like, hey, I know you're logged in. Did you place this order? Do you have a problem with this order? What's wrong with it? Oh, you're missing an item. What item was it? Was it the hamburger or was it the cheese dog? What was missing? Well, you missed the cheese dog. Do you want that brought back out to you, or do you want a redelivery? And like stuff all the way down to it knowing you're really, really busy and knowing that you really can't do a redelivery right now. So just offering an increased credit amount than you normally offer. And then, like, for example, if you're like not busy at all, it would really just not even give them the offer for credit, and it would just say, we'll send a redelivery will be out shortly with your cheese dog or whatever. So a lot of cool stuff with that. I'm excited to see that come out. We are, for third-party drivers, we're adding DoorDash in there. I already went over the delivery zip code based order taxation. We're adding this thing in for driver floor pay, which will be good, right? We talked about that a little bit last week. driver floor pay functionality. Driver floor pay just means like you're paying your drivers 75% of the delivery fee. You promise them like $20 an hour. They work for 5 hours. That means you promised them $100. Did they take enough deliveries to where their tips and commissions equaled $100? If so, do nothing. If it didn't match $100 in that 5-hour shift, then cover the difference from your guys' account.
How would you combat a driver forgetting to check out? Like on this floor thing, you can say, I'm just going to give them 5 hours worth.
So I didn't story this one. This is a Devin story, and not 100% sure, Dusty, on lots of the ins and the outs on this one. I got just the basics understanding of it. That being said, I know there's been conversation about how it could be, gamed and all that. Of course, you went down that pathway.
Yep.
So it should be pretty solid. Now this is actually something we're trying to turn around pretty quickly, and we're likely to see this one as well, fully global within a month's time. So that's exciting for me. I think that's something people have kind of wanted like all for forever, for 10 years or so, off and on, something people requested. Dynamic quote times, y'all know what that's about. That's still kind of sitting in here as something. It keeps getting moved back a little bit at a time, but eventually we'll get that dynamic quote times out there. Last item I have on the list is 7-Eleven e-store thing. That's, we're kind of actually this past week like relaunched the 7-Eleven stuff a little bit, and we had to turn them off for a little bit because of some issue with the API on their end. We made some updates. They made some updates, and those should be back on again now. If you did have a 7-Eleven active and it wasn't again, now it should be again. At this point in time, it should be active now. And what this ticket or this item here on my list though is the 7-Eleven e-store functionality. 7-Eleven is just like a national partnership, but then we have this concept where we're going to be able to allow them to become like a national partner e-store listing where anybody can order from that. They can place an order from Dusty's Deli and then add on a couple of Red Bulls and Sprites and stuff like that from the e-store of 7-Eleven. I think that'll be good because it's going to increase. It'll increase sales quite a bit. E-stores are always great, and the conundrum of how to run your e-store has been an age-old question. And having it set up where you're rolling it from a convenience store, and that convenience store is 7-Eleven, and the items are pulled and ready to grab when your driver walks in, it's phenomenal. Perfect. It's the best execution I can think of for it. And that's all I have for the new features and what I'm excited about. Not too much crazy excitement in there. The floor pay, I'm actually excited about that taxation thing. The 7-Eleven thing's pretty cool. And really like the biggest one I think right now from this week's list is going to be the GFO listings report and restaurant controls. So I'm using that as a segue to pass this over to Julie. Julie, hello.
Hello. Yeah. So this is very exciting for you all. Something we've been talking about giving you guys access to for a while. So I want to do a screen share for those of you that are looking at your screen. Because for me, I'm a visual person, and I don't know, it's just easier for me to talk about it as I walk through it. So I might as well just share my screen. So I guess we can get into the report part first. When you guys log into your backend, there's this drop down up here. And I thought I was in there is a restaurant feed overview report. in the GFO section of this reports dropdown. You guys always saw this GFO part, but there wasn't access to it, and now there is. So I'll, Dusty, do you mind if I use you as an example?
No, go ahead.
So you're just going to select your location. If you have more than one, you know, you can select all of them or just one that you want to look at, and then click Generate Report. And this will now show you the GFO status of all the restaurants that currently are in the feed for Google or not. This will populate any restaurant that has had some sort of connection with Google at any point in the past. So whether it was off or on, blocked, duplicate, enabled, disabled, you'll see it here. If you have new restaurants or maybe restaurants that have never been touched by GFO, they won't show here because there is a status for GFO called unspecified, and that's like the default status when new restaurants get created or when new locations get created and nothing has happened with GFO yet. So that unspecified status is the only status that won't show up on this report. So if you have a restaurant and you don't see it here, you know, you can do the Control F and like type the name of your restaurant. If you're not seeing it on this report, then you will want to go to that restaurant profile. Just go to a random one. Go to this GFO tab here, and this is a new tab you guys have, and there's a little drop down here. Unspecified is what it'll be defaulted to, but then you have a couple other options here now. You can disable it if it had been enabled. Enable it all the way. This does both takeout and delivery, or you can specify if you only want to do GFO for delivery or just takeout. I do want to say that these three here get overridden by whatever takeout or delivery status you have set up in your info tab. So all the way at the bottom here, you have a couple checkboxes, takeout and delivery. If you have both checked and you specify delivery only for GFO, then that will work just fine. But if you only have delivery checked and you specify completely enabled for GFO, meaning both delivery and takeout, it will only show for delivery because this checkbox overrides whatever you have going on in. Basically, the info tab is greater than the GFO tab. And there is now also a GFO. Just do it like this. There is also a GFO tab for the location. So we see it here. This might not be showing up right now because of what I mentioned earlier with Richard's question. We've got some temporary, just basic blurb out there on GFO, but you can update your logo at any time, and then as soon as we remove that temporary thing, it'll show up on Google. But you got a similar drop down here on the locational level. Disable your location completely from GFO, enable the location. You can specify delivery or takeout. Again, whatever you have set up here on your information tab for location will override whatever you got going on in the GFO tab. And we also have this other status that you can check. We are redoing the wording here. It's a little confusing because this word location should actually be up here behind the first enable. It should say enable location and enable all unspecified restaurants. So there's a little typo there, but basically this will turn the location on and change any restaurant that is in the unspecified status to being enabled. It's a little bit of a time saver. You know, of course, GFO should be for partners only, but let's say you have 80% partners, and it's easier for you to go back and disable a handful of non-partner restaurants for GFO on their restaurant profile than the other way around. You'd want to click this option, and then always remember to hit save. One more thing about the report here. I want to show you guys. I did hear someone raise their hand, but I'm just going to go through this little section before I answer any questions. We default this report to a normal setting, meaning it'll show you everything. There's another setting here, and we're changing the verbiage to this to be something more like potential non-partners, or basically restaurants that our system, the software platform, isn't currently recognizing as a partner. We've done this because I'm sure you guys have all seen the consent form that we sent out. We've tried to make you guys as aware of it as possible. To get restaurants to sign to give their consent to be on GFO. We did this because we know a lot of you have partnerships with restaurants that might be more on a verbal level, but really we just need to make sure that any restaurant that is on GFO is cool with it. And if you're delivering for that restaurant, they know who you are. They're good with you delivering for them, but there might not be anything on paper. Of course, a software platform can't sense that sort of partnership. So those are the restaurants that you really want to get that consent form signed. And we've put a filter on this report that will kind of give you a better idea on which restaurants might need that report over others. So you would put it in strict mode and click generate report. And while this one is currently disabled, probably because, I don't know, it's not a partner maybe, but it will highlight in gray restaurants that currently were not very sure about the partnership status of it. And those would be the ones you'd want to first go out and get that consent form signed. So that's how that report works. Now, I did hear a few hands go up, but I don't know who was first. Richard.
I completely forgot what I was going to ask. We'll come back to it. Go for it, Jeremiah.
Okay, Jeremiah, yeah.
Hey, so on our side, we don't have the GFO tab in our locations level. We also don't have access to the strict mode at all.
Oh, okay. Wow, I'll look into that for you. Is anybody else experiencing that where they don't have access to those tabs yet?
I'm going to check real quick.
Okay. I'm noting that down, Jeremiah, and I'll definitely get back to you on that.
Great, thank you.
I remember now while he's checking. I noticed that prep time showed up on the location level. Is there any reason for that?
That one's been hanging out there for it's I never really liked it being there. It's supposed to be like some way where you can like type in the value there and then say send to all restaurants. I dislike
yeah, I
it.
don't like that either.
I would just not use it personally.
Yeah, don't use that. 301.
Yes. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
We spoke last week and I was expecting to receive an email and I haven't received it. And I also sent an email on Monday. I don't know if you have an opportunity to look at it.
I am banging through my emails here, and I'm usually at about 50 or 60 unread, and I'm down to
Okay.
15. So
Okay.
I will be getting to you by the end of the day here.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions about these new GFO tabs and the report that you can pull? Melissa. Yeah.
Juliet, I do have everything on my end, just so you know.
Okay. Okay, great.
Could you just kind of clarify a little bit more about the strict mode and the gray? I'm just trying to understand exactly, because I just looked at mine. I have some that have it and some that don't. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what that means.
Right. So the software has certain things in place where it can kind of automatically detect if a restaurant is a partner, and Google also has some things that they check. I'm not privy to all of those statuses, but I do know that a software platform can't possibly know a handshake deal, right? So these are the restaurants that are possible violators of being listed on GFO with no real way to tell if they're partners or not, which is why those are the ones that you should get that consent form signed, because that is an automatic form that gets sent to us. It's a digital form. So as soon as it gets signed and that done button gets clicked, it gets sent over to us, and we are able to see that this restaurant has given permission to the RDS to be listed on GFO.
Okay, gotcha. Now, if there's a restaurant that you have a verbal with, but not a partnership, and it's not in gray, do you still need to go get paperwork for them, or is that?
I would do that as well. Yeah, better to cover all bases.
Okay, so just try to, all the ones that we have a verbal with, just try to go get them to
Exactly.
sign the paper. Yep. Okay. All right, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, we of course, for the sake of our clients and for business, we need to protect this relationship with Google. And if they need things from us, they're kind of driving the ship, and we just have to make sure that we comply. Jeremiah.
I do know Joe said something about having that when they log into their backend, that form could be there for them to sign digitally.
Yeah, we do want to get that to be something that's actually like on in the back end for you guys, and kind of sort of have it do automatic updates. So that is definitely a goal, but we've kind of been just trying to make it work for the time being. But that is definitely a goal, to have it be something that the restaurant can.
And I did mention it to Joe, it would be cool if we could have, like, maybe even like a contract or various documents needed in there. So when they just go there, they can just sign up, fill up everything they need to fill out, and be done.
Yeah, for sure. The more we can automate it, the better. And, that's usually our goal with anything that we do. So, for sure. Jack. You are on mute if you're talking, Jack.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
I hit the hand, not the mute.
Oh.
Well, good morning.
morning.
I am looking at the report that has the strict mode on it, with the area of Lahaina right now. And one restaurant, Amigos, Lahaina, it is listed as takeout only, which in fact it is not. And I actually did several deliveries from them yesterday, and I just looked on their restaurant profile, and both are checked, so it looks correct there.
So Go to the GFO tab on their restaurant profile.
Okay.
And so the status where you were looking at that report where it might have said like takeout only, that is the GFO status. That is not your overall restaurant status.
So even though the front page defaults, the report's being pulled from this page.
The front page is greater than the GFO page, and I might not be saying that in a very understandable way, but
So in order for that report to be accurate, we have to make sure both match up.
yes, you would definitely want them to both match up, but let's say you have, this is a good example. So you have both delivery and takeout boxes checked on the info page for that restaurant. But on the GFO tab, the takeout only option was selected. So that is the only option that will be flowing through to GFO. Now, if you had, let's say you had only the delivery option checked on that info page, but you still had takeout only on GFO, nothing would show on GFO because delivery on your info tab overrides whatever else you got from. If you don't have takeout checked on your info tab, even if you have takeout as an option on GFO, it won't show. Or the same thing for delivery.
No, I understand that. I'm just referring to that report because the report is
Yeah,
kind
so
of
that
useless.
report is only GFO things. So it will show you, it is very useful because it has shown you that you only had takeout for that one restaurant on GFO.
But it could also be doing the opposite.
Well, it would, now you know you need to go to that restaurant's GFO tab and change it to being fully enabled.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying, it could also be the opposite, meaning it could say both are enabled, but they really aren't, because the info page might, for some reason, not be matching this other page. So we really have to go through each individual one and make sure they match up. How is this populated? Because it's always been both in my info page.
This is only showing you whatever option you have selected in that GFO tab. That's all it shows you.
Okay, so I just have to go through every single one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, if you offered takeout, delivery and takeout for a restaurant, but you only want them to be on GFO for delivery, then you might want to leave delivery only for GFO, or maybe that's what the restaurant has asked you to do. So it might not always match exactly, depending on whatever agreement you have for that restaurant. Melissa.
One more question, sorry. So for the ones that I need to get the paperwork signed, do I need to have them disabled right now until I get that paperwork signed and then I can enable them? Is that how it works?
To be safe, that's a good idea. You know, just in case if there's any outreach from Google, you know, we want to make sure we have everything on file that shows that all the restaurants that are listed are partners.
Okay, sounds good. I do have them all disabled. I just wanted to double check and make sure. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so just a few minutes left. I usually talk about POS. Not too many new things going on. We still have our direct integration with Clover. We are fine tuning that. In fact, I was working with Dusty yesterday on that, and there are some instructions that I'll be adding to the direct integration Clover Confluence article, the knowledge base article, about some settings that the restaurant will probably want to have set up on their end in their POS, just to make sure that orders come through under the proper tender type, tax or no tax, printer situation, stuff like that. So just keep an eye out on that Clover Confluence article for updates there. Richard.
Any Otter updates?
No, I promise I will let you guys know as soon as we hear back from Otter. We do have a few other integrations coming up down the line. I think Square is our next integration that we'll be working on. And then we also have Spot On. And fingers crossed, I have a little conversation going with some people at Toast. They have opened their API, which is great news. It's been closed for the past 2 years. But that being said, there is a long line of people waiting to get access to that. So hopefully we can maybe get our requests sped along a little bit, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted on Toast. I know that's something we definitely want, and a lot of you guys have been asking for as well. So fingers crossed on that one. I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, that's why I ask about Otter, because with Otter, we can pretty much integrate into almost anybody.
Yeah, so Chally is a middleware company that we work with that has 6 POS systems that they can integrate with, and then It's a Checkmate has something like 30. So those are the 2 middleware companies we work with now that can help us do integrations for any POS system that we don't have a direct link with yet. And I believe Otter is the same, a middleware company really, but there are dozens of middleware companies out there as well. So it's kind of just, you know, a matter of how quickly can we get a conversation going? What is the workload like, and do we have the resources? All that kind of stuff. Because, you know, there's Chow Now is also now getting into the middleware field of things. I mean, there's a bunch. So we're doing our best to get connected to as many as we can. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Matt for any closing words. That's what I got for today.
All righty, guys. Anything else for Julie or any questions for me today? All right, do appreciate you guys coming. We're right on time. It's crazy to the minute. All right, appreciate your time today, guys. Stay in touch with us, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.
You guys too.
Have a good day.
Aloha. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
everyone. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thanks, guys.